Hello and welcome, and it is that of the 5th of July 2018. My name is Derek, and I'd like to welcome you to the Money Charts channel. And this video will be talking about the total market capitalization amongst the cryptos. And let's get started. This is going back to 2014. The lows came in early 2015. It's obviously had a very beautiful rise higher, as we can see amongst this chart. One thing of note is that the lines are in log scale, which represent on the bottom, which hasn't been touched on here, 1 billion. It starts at 10 billion. You got the 100 billion and then the 1,000 billion, which equates to 1 trillion. So therefore, making it from one line to another is a 10x gain. So there was 10x, and it almost did another 10x or that of 100x move within its run. But it also started well below this line. So that's greater than a move of such. It's very close to a 300 times gain from the January 2015 lows to that of the January low highs, 3 years later. So high volatility, big moves, and when people talk about how Bitcoin, it's just not worth it. This currency is not stable. When you lose like 3 times your value like this, and I'm even saying you might lose 6 times, because I've been talking about 3,000. That could be 7 times even from the $20,000 high, but that's just part of the volatility within the market. It's obviously having one of its correctionary phases right now. Regardless of the fact, it's either going to be a small price and time correction if it bottoms now, or it's going to be a price, time, and another price correction, and maybe even time after that. But if we see the world moving to the point where people are going to accept cryptos, traders stay in trading the game, and you got people getting into such out of the dollar, then this has got no choice but to eventually rise higher. When volatility, as is shown, gets in play, then we could be talking about maybe even having 100x type gains from this significant low. And if that's the case, then having a 100x gain would take you halfway to the next one. So you'd be talking several of trillions, like a 3, 4, or 5 trillion dollar market cap. That, to me, is definitely realistic within the future. Now, as far as these highs are concerned, this is almost 300x, because 300 times 3 would be 900. And the low was 3.02 billion. The high was 835.7. And I'll get back to these numbers in just a little bit within this episode. But next, let's take a look at this from the highs of this year. So this is a chart that's about 8-9 months in that area, and it's showing, of course, the movements like Bitcoin. Most of this is Bitcoin as it is, and even for the other amounts that isn't, a lot of the other coins, the Litecoin, the Ethereum, the Ripples, and the entire bunch, oftentimes will go up and down together within the market. So it's had 3 hits amongst the similar areas. Of course, the second one is noticeably lower than the first. This one, for some, would be noticeably lower as well, but very much close. You got this high, this lower high. Question is, are we starting a rally to attempt to state what the next key high is going to get to, meaning a move better than this? Because this was an attempt to bring the market higher. It obviously didn't do so. Another attempt here as well. And maybe it is, but I don't know yet if I'm going to call this the July rallies, or it's just going to be a small attempt. And then maybe this may head lower. When we look at this with the key lows on, at least for the last 2 periods, the last one at the start of July was in at 232.6. The April Fool's lows was 243.5, which just marginally is a little bit lower. Now, taking a look at the charts just from the April rallies, so pretty much from around here on, that'll be the next one I'll be taking a look at or putting on the screen. What we can see better is the rally attempts which it had. Now, at least from the first one, this is a spot where It had several hits amongst the similar area, multiple bottoming this point, had a nice little higher low here, breaking its resistance, and it started at the April Fool's rally, where each correctionary move was able to hold. But in this one here, it never really rallied, it broke support, and then that was it. Now it started several legs of lower highs and lower lows. So each rally attempt in here, mainly sideways, didn't work. Of course, this was a spot where it needed to make its move, thus it did not make a higher high, did not make a higher low, which would have been somewhere around here. When it came to support, it fell through. A decent sized rally again. When it came down to support after breaking this line, didn't find the support where you to match that level. Same thing here. And now it's got this little rally and this level of support. So if this goes down, then just maybe it might break through and make another leg lower. But it's got a lot more to be able to consider that a lot more is needed for you to consider that it's even nearing the attempt of reverting the not only the more longer term trend, but even just the intermediate trend has got a long ways to go for the healing. So then when we look back at the highs of 830 and change and the lows from 2015 and calculate some Fibonacci retracement, the 76.4, which would represent a 23.6% downtrend, is in at 222. Number below that, which would represent a 38.2%, is a 98. So we can even round that to 100. So therefore, 220 has been the area of the 23.6 Fibonacci down mark. It has been a pierce above, hitting 243 and 232. And just maybe it might still even hit that point. In fact, if there's a failed breakdown that goes down to, say, 5,000 Bitcoin that I've talked about in previous videos, well, this number would probably go down to about 200 or 210. And that would be a pierce below that key fib point and really a third test of this level, depending on what this rally does. Meaning, if it has a good rally, it'd be the third test of it. If it pretty much fails from around this point on, it's just still doing its current second test. This being one, rally, this being two, and of course, significantly it hasn't rallied. But either way, if it goes to that next major level I've talked about of 3,000 Bitcoin, and most likely it would, even for its most lowest point, maybe pierce to like 26, 25, or any of those much lower numbers, well, this one could very easily go down to that 98 million number. And I'll be talking about great opportunities to enter into positions, to buy, and all those sort of things, while a lot of people will be panicking to no degrees. If, of course, a situation like that is to transpire. It's all gonna, when the buyers come into the market, these markets can go up super fast. This is a situation in here. The start of this chart, well, pretty much where we're around now, like 220, and then it goes up to like over 800. So there's a 4x move in just a matter of a few weeks. So that's how wild these markets can move. And I'd like to thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.